Hi, and welcome to the EarlyON. My name is Ashley and I'm a resource consultant from Lansdowne Children's Center. Today I'm here to talk to you about the functions of behavior. What do you think of when you think about the word behavior? Does a negative feeling come to mind, or does a positive feeling come to mind? What is behavior? Behavior is defined by a noun or a manner of behaving or acting. It's psychology in animal behavior that includes observable activity, the aggregate of response to internal and external stimuli, a stereotyped species-specific activity as a courtship or a dance or a startle reflex. It's often behaviors or a behavior pattern, and it's the action or reaction of any material under certain circumstances. When we think about the word behavior, I'm going to give you an acronym to remember. SEAT for the word seat. S is sensory, E escape, A attention, or T tangible. It's something that is automatically reinforcing to us. It's basic survival needs. Some examples of sensory are possibly twirling hair, tapping foot, humming, bouncing up and down, climbing, putting items in your mouth, self-stimulatory actions. Ways to support sensory behaviors are teaching somebody to self-manage those behaviors, providing alternate sensory input, such as maybe squishy toys, bubbles, gum if the child is old enough, a swing, hugs and squeezes, or possibly earphones if the environment is too loud. Moving on to E, escape. A child can escape an undesired task or an expectation, an undesired area, a specific person or a group of people, or a loud environment. The behavior might look like straight out refusal or denial. It could be running away from an expectation. It can be aggression towards self or others, throwing objects, noodling to the floor, or otherwise known as flopping to the floor, or looking away or simply ignoring. This comes when somebody's been asked to do something that they just don't want to do. Chances to work on escape behaviors could look like a first then board, giving the child choices, giving them an alternate expectation. Alter the expectation somehow. Allow them to have breaks in between if they're becoming too overwhelmed by a task. Possibly start with easier tasks. The next one is attention. Any attention is better than no attention at all, right? So this can be seeking attention from others or bringing awareness to themselves or others or interactions. This is engaging in an action to gain any form of attention. It can be observed in many forms, such as crying, acting out, throwing objects, aggressive actions, getting in trouble, over-touchy kids, looking for that constant approval from parents or caregivers, looking for a reaction and repeating actions that they've been asked not to do. This is when they want social attention. You will often see this when they have an undesired behavior. Strategies for attention-seeking behaviors include providing the child with lots of positive reinforcement throughout the day. It can be small tasks that you know that they're capable of doing to offer them that momentum to keep going. If you see that the child is becoming escalated, this is an opportunity to jump in with some positive reinforcement to direct that negative behavior. Teach better ways that the child can get your attention, such as tapping your shoulder, saying "excuse me," or even just simply coming and standing beside you quietly. An important thing to remember with attention-seeking behaviors is to do your best to ignore negative behaviors. Providing that the child and the environment is safe, it is okay to ignore negative behaviors. If a child is throwing a toy to get your attention, simply ignore it and redirect them to something else. Giving them attention for negative behaviors is likely to increase the chances that it'll happen again because they were able to get your attention for something negative. Once again, planned ignoring is an important strategy, providing that the child and the environment is safe and others around as well. There are two types of attention, positive attention and negative attention. Positive attention is when you give attention for something that you want to see more of. So this can be phrases such as, wow, you're on the right track, you're doing a great job. I can see that you worked really hard on that, let's keep going. It could be body language such as a thumbs up across the room or a high five when you're walking by. Negative attention is when you give attention for something undesired that you do not want to see. This is phrases such as, don't hit your friend. I don't like it when you do that. Or once again, body language such as grimacing or flinching. Try not to give these reactions as the likelihood is increased that it will happen again. The next one is tangible. So this is preferred items such as activities, toys, food, and sometimes even people such as grandma and grandpa. This is to gain access to an item. You may see this when a child might push another child to get the toy that they had. Ways to support behaviors around access to a tangible would be allowing the child to have a transition item. If they're asked to leave an item or a preferred activity, you may allow them to take a small item with them to help move on to the next. The likelihood is that they will just drop it anyways, and then it can be put back in a safe space for later. You can teach language to the child to request an item, to request food, to request anything that they're wanting access to provide more positive outlets for them to ask for items. If you have a table full of children coloring, you may offer multiple baskets of crayons, glue, paper, as well as scissors to avoid the situation of children fighting over a few crayons. If they also want an item, you can give them a small expectation that you know that they're capable of before they can have that item. So to recap, I want to review the 4 letters: sensory, escape, attention, tangible. And when we frame behavior into those 4 functions, it can be easier to guide us through how to manage those problem behaviors. I hope that helps today to explain those functions of behaviors. Thank you for joining me today on the EarlyON for this parent information session.
A resource consultant from the Early Integration Program is available to talk to you should you want more information, support, or to discuss any concerns or questions you may have. Please contact us by email at eip@lansdowncc.com or by phone at 519-753-3153. Ask reception if you can speak to a resource consultant.